This show is part of the Subculture Podcast Network. For pop culture and entertainment podcasts, go to bio.link/subculturepodnetwork. Prepare to be entertained.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Hey, everybody! It is time for another episode of Rebel Rock Radio. How's it going out there, everybody? And I am one half of your team, Steve, and with me is JD. How's it going, JD?
I'm here and ready to rock and roll, buddy.
Ready to go.
Ready
We
to
got
go.
some folks in the chat room already. We've got the CEO of Star Wars Non-Toxic Alliance.
Nice. Nice to see
We've
you.
got Smirking Bear. Cue the entrance squirrel, as always. And we have Steve.
Hey, Steve.
Who's on? Good to see you, folks. I'm sure some more will be trickling in. So this is episode number 182. 82. And we will be talking some Sith jibber jabber today. Tonight, we continue our Spirit of Star Wars series as we talk about the history of the Sith.
Darth Steve and Darth JD from Smirking Bear.
And we have so we if you aren't aware of it already and weren't on social media yesterday or today, you will see we have a little background here in homage to Mr. James Earl Jones, who, as I said, if you weren't paying attention yesterday or today, we got the news that he passed. The voice of Darth Vader, among many other things.
Mm-hmm.
We had a little tribute to him last night.
Mm-hmm.
And several of you might have been in the chat room yesterday, hanging out with us and sharing your thoughts about Mr. Earl Jones. So we continue our homage with him this week with a little background there. And
After all, we are. After all, yeah, definitely. I mean, it brings into focus the fact that none of these actors are getting any younger, and
that's true. That's true.
And none of us are getting any younger for that matter.
Today's shirt is my Darth Vader shirt.
Nice.
So
nice.
In any case, we're going to be talking about the Sith, and I think we're gonna have some show and tell.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll have some show and tell. Okay.
Yeah.
And we will have some music, which we're going to jump into right now.
Very nice.
First song is brought to us by a band from Liege, Belgium. They are called the Fervents. And they have an album coming out on October 4th called Plastic Snake Factory. Interesting name. I had that as coming to us from Capitaine Records. And we are playing the first single from that album, upcoming album. So here is Fervents with Let Go.
Swallowed by the city, and it never spat me out. I got drowned by the sea that was raging in your eyes. I got lost on a straight line, forgetting my own name. Infinity of neon lights, and all your faces look the same. And I was busy giving up, busy leaving you. I was busy giving up, busy leaving you. Let go, let go, let go while you can. Let go, let go, let go while you can. Let go, let go, let go while you can. Let go, let go, let go while you can. Never noticed it was over, and all the doors were shut. It all died in the fire. Enough is never enough. Love letters on paper planes turning to dust. Forever grounded in the rain at the airport in my jacket. And I was busy giving up, busy leaving you. I was busy giving up, busy leaving you. Let go, let go, let go while you can. Let go, let go, let go while you can. Let go, let go, let go while you can. Let go, let go, let go while you can.
Let Go by Fervents. Cool tune. And you will be able to hear more of them on October 4th when they release Plastic Snake Factory. And Ubaldo is in the chat room.
Ubaldo!
All right. Well, what have you been up to this week?
Man, it's actually been quiet for a while. Mother Nature hasn't interrupted any of my plans. So this weekend, my daughter's senior year in soccer in college started. So we attended that game on Saturday, which was fun. State Fair here in Kansas is in full swing. So yeah, so there's a few things going on. Cooler weather's starting to set in, at least for a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Glad
And
to
football,
see that.
And football season started. So yeah, Sunday was busy watching football games. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of football. However, on Sunday, the wife and I were at a local bar and grill. We went there to get some dinner. It's actually it has become probably one of, if not my favorite place to eat in Norman.
Nice.
And it's just a little bar and grill. off of Main Street, not anywhere near. Well, relatively speaking, I guess it is near campus, but it's not. It's on a different. It's several miles north of campus, so I don't have to deal with all that.
I was gonna say, so you're not dealing with college kid traffic.
I'm not dealing with college. Right. It's what I consider. It's what I call downtown Norman, because that's where. Anyway, it's so we were there. Point being, we were there, and of course it is a sports bar, but they have food, and their food is great, which is why I keep going back. But there were, the TVs there's a ton of TVs all around, and they were all playing football games. And one of them was the Seahawks game, so I kind of paid attention to it. So yeah, I watched a little football this weekend. Most of my weekend, though, however, was spent playing Outlaws. So I've logged in some more time on the Star Wars Outlaws. I think I'm up to. I've got a math here. Hang on. It's not giving it to me in hours. It is, but yeah, it's
days and hours now.
But so last time I checked, I was at 30 hours.
Oh, nice.
And I've gotten quite a ways into it, and I actually haven't played in a couple of days. I think the last day I played was Sunday. But I feel like I'm getting close to the end of the story, which is fine. It's I'm about to finish the story on that game, and I am already kind of in the back of my mind preparing my next run through. Because with this run through, I played. I'm playing basically. You can side with certain factions in the game, and I have been playing on the side of Crimson Dawn. So I'm thinking on my next run through, I'm going to run with the Hutts and see how different the game is. So,
well, I was actually surprised you didn't run with the Hutts, because at that point, Boba Fett would be part of the Hutts clan at that time. He was working for them.
That is true. That is true.
And so it surprised me that you didn't go for the Hutts like right away.
I think the Crimson Dawn is really interesting. So that's fine with that. But well, I don't want to spoil anything, but
so has your opinion of it changed?
Okay, spoiler alert. If you haven't played the game, you do meet Jabba. And you see his wall decoration.
His certain wall decoration that he has.
A certain wall decoration. So it'll be interesting to see how that interaction goes when I am siding with the Hutts. We will find out, because that interaction didn't go very well.
Did you end up in the Rancor pit?
Yeah. But other than that, let's see, did I do anything else? I played some Outlaws, watched the Seahawks game. I didn't even watch all of the Seahawks game. I watched most of it. And then, I went and saw, what movie did I go see? I saw Beetlejuice.
How was that?
It's all right. Original's better. I wouldn't. It is a movie that I would not. What's the word I'm looking for? Advise people not to watch. I would not do that. In other words, I would not recommend people go see it. If somebody says they're going to go see it, I'm not going to be like, oh, don't go see that piece of trash. But I would also not go see it again. And
I just saw Smirking Bear's comment.
You like how James peeking over your screen?
Yeah, Darth Vader's right in the middle.
Yeah, he's peeking over both of us. He's checking us out.
Yep.
Yeah, it was fine. I mean, if I were to do at the end of the year, I will be. I always do a top 10 movies of the year type thing. At the end of the year, if I were to do a top 10, well, let's see. What have I looked? What have I watched so far? 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7. It probably would not hit the top 10. Actually, it probably wouldn't. Yeah, I don't think it's good enough for a top 10. But it was fine. I went with the youngest, the kid, and they really liked it, and I was like, okay, well, I mean, it's fine. It was all right. I can't say much else about it. Really, it was all right. I think I liked it less than a lot of other people did because I've seen some reviews on YouTube. With a couple of the people that I watch when they do movie reviews, and it's just like, oh well, they obviously liked it a lot better than I did. And other than that, I have started my Rebels rewatch. Have you started yours?
Yes, loosely. I had started a marathon a while back, and now I've just picked it back up again, to be honest.
Okay.
So that's what I'm doing. Yeah.
Yeah. I am, I've made it to season 2. And I got a few episodes into season 2, and I was like, okay, let me hold off. Because I don't want to watch the entire series by the end of week 2 of September and then be like, comes to October and I'm like, oh crap, I forgot everything.
Damn it.
But I also have that audio book that is a prequel to Rebels. I have not started listening to it yet. I wanted to wait until a little bit closer to like maybe the middle of the month. It's called A New Dawn. And it's a prequel to Rebels. So I have that. And really, that was actually just a coincidence. I was looking for my next read and I'm like, oh, let me try this one out. Cause I finished, what was the book I was reading before that? Battle for Jeddah or Battle of Jeddah.
How was that one?
And I think I'm going to take a break from High Republic books for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I find myself, I'll be listening to them, and I'm just like, I just can't get into these as much as I would like.
Yeah.
I mean, there have been some of them. I mean, I've listened to and read a lot of them, and there are some that I've really liked. But they're kind of in the minority. Like none of them are bad. None of the books are bad. They're just not grabbing me.
Right.
Like a lot of them just aren't grabbing me. And is it Battle for or Battle of? Shit, I don't even remember now. It's got Battle and Jeddah in the title. Here, let me check my reading list. Battle of Jeddah. It was one of those that just didn't grab me. It was like, it was disappointing too, because I was actually looking forward. I was looking forward to that book because of its tie to Jeddah, being
because of Rogue One. Yeah.
Yeah, and I read the comic books that take place at the same time that this book takes place. Mm-hmm. And I liked those. But the book, I was just like, I'm being neutral, passive. What does that mean? What does neutral, passive mean? I mean, if you're going to talk in here, you can't use words that I've got to look up. Yeah, I don't know what that means.
That's awesome. He's not being neutral, passive.
In any case, yes, man, it was there.
Well, and see, I really enjoyed the first series, and I got through the first book of the second series, and then I got through like Into the Dark, which is a side book.
Yeah,
and I really enjoyed those. Those were good. And then after a while, I was kind of like to the point where I was like, man.
Yeah, like I really liked Light of the Jedi.
Yeah, I liked Light of the Jedi. Yeah. And what was it? Light of the Jedi, Rising Star, Falling Star. I liked all those.
Yeah.
So
most of the stories in the comic books I've been reading. You know what it is? I think I liked more of the Phase 1 stuff, and the Phase 2 stuff is just not grabbing me.
Yeah. That was my problem, is that Phase 2 was just kind of like, I was kind of like,
yeah.
Okay.
With one exception, there is a Phase 2 comic book story arc that I actually really liked. And it was outside the main comic book continuity, if you will. I want to say it was called The Blade. That sounds familiar. Let me check my reading list again. Maybe that'll tell me. Nope. That's not it. Geez, how long ago did I read this thing? Yeah, The Blade. It's just called The Blade, and it's written by Charles Soule. Most of what he's read, but yeah, it's called The Blade. He said reactions are like your kid giving you a gift you don't really like, but not being able to say it to them. Okay, that's fair.
That's fair. That's like getting a bad gift and trying to be nice about saying you don't like it.
I don't want to say anything negative about Star Wars. That's just not me.
But
it's Star Wars, it's good, but not all of it is for me. It's fine,
which is perfectly fine. That's yeah.
So if you are watching us on YouTube, please make sure that you subscribe and smash that like button and ring that bell. Ding, ding, ding. And tell your friends. Get them to subscribe. And if you aren't already a patron, JD, tell them about our Patreon.
So, we are cheaper than most people's coffee. No, seriously. For $2 a month, you can subscribe.
Also, the Patreon is cheaper than some people's coffee.
I said that's what I meant. Patreon was cheaper.
Oh, you said we are cheaper. I was like,
no, being a Patreon, having us as part of your daily thing, and having special content from us, and us doing special videos, and us doing things, special and little side things, and little like gaming stuff and things like that. For $2 a month, you can be a part of those special events that will only be available on Patreon. And like I said, it's cheaper than most people's coffee, way cheaper than most people's coffee. And basically, the only thing it does for us is it helps us pay the StreamYard bill, which just went up. So
Yep.
We really do appreciate the Patreons. We really do appreciate you guys. And we are slowly trickling in new content. We have more stuff planned. And we just need to get to it. The special tribute to James Earl Jones that we did last night was not Patreon only, but we do have Patreon only content that you can log on and you can see. And there's more to come. Between Mother Nature screwing with my schedule and Steve having COVID, we were kind of behind on things.
Yeah.
But we do have stuff coming. We have our weekly episodes, and we are going to start hopefully, we're going to get to start a weekly gaming thing that will be on our Patreon.
Yeah. That should be starting this Thursday.
Yes.
That will be patron only to view that.
And you will get to see yours truly try to fumble through a dice role-playing game that I have never done in my entire life. But you will get to see me try to fumble through it. And I play a pilot / smuggler / whatever I decide to throw in there. And if you want to see me trip over my own tongue, literally, to play this game and have some fun and laugh.
You'll have people there to help you.
There'll be people there to help me, and I'm sure that their help will be awesome. But I will not be able to use it because it's me. So yeah.
If you're interested in seeing something like that, now is a great time to start up with the Patreon. And one thing that was not mentioned, for your $2, you also get a shout out on our show.
Yes.
So, without further ado, here are our current team of patrons.
Patrons.
Dave Brown, Kelly and Chris, aka Luna Girl and Dragon Buddy, Justin Hensley from the Punk Lotto Pod, Charlie Kirby, Chantel, Matthew, and Steve, who is in the chat room with us right now. Thank you all for your donations. They are being used appropriately to pay for the ever-increasing fees of StreamYard. Yeehaw.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
what he said.
Well, with that in mind, let's move on to our next cool tune. This one comes to us from Columbus, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
This band is called Prime Directive, and they have an album coming out on October 18th called Fallout. And that is being released by Punkerton Records. And we are playing the first single from that album. And the name of that song is The Last Starfighter.
Ooh.
So here's that tune for you.
Ooh.
Greetings, Starfighter. You have been recruited by the Star League to defend the frontier against Sewer and the Odan Armada. Get ready, prepare for blast off.
That was cool.
Never in my life did I think I'd hear a punk rock song about the last Starfighter.
So that was Prime Directive with The Last Starfighter. And that will be released on their Fallout album coming October 18th. Be on the lookout. All right. Where are we at with our little thingy today? Oh, it is time for show and tell time. Yay! That was a good question. Let me look at that album cover again.
Doing a beer pump drinking from a
No,
barrel.
let me
It looked like a toxic. It looked like a toxic barrel is what it looked like.
Yeah, I believe that is a yeah. Yes, it is. Very interesting. Interesting bunch of guys, it looks like. Anyway, so you probably have an actual show and tell, and I just have something that came in the mail today.
Very nice.
Not that exciting. I would have. So I got this shirt. I would have worn it tonight, but I I'm representing Vader instead tonight. But this came in the mail today, so.
Oh, very nice.
My
Baseball.
official Rebel Rock Radio shirt.
Nice.
And you can get one too by going to oh shit, what is our website? You go to bio.link/Rebel Rock Radio, and that will take you to our merch page where you can buy all kinds of different shirts. And what else do we have on there? I think we
baseball caps too. Don't you have caps too? I thought you had caps on there.
I think you are right. I think we have baseball caps.
I think you do.
We do have coffee mugs. We do have coffee mugs. And we have, okay, that's a lot. We have pillows.
We have pillows.
We have pillows, like little pillows.
Because you want to lay your head on a Rebel Rock Radio symbol and think of us.
But you do, yeah.
You do. You need it in your life.
Yes, we have a lot more on here than I thought we did.
No, Ubaldo, I don't think free T-shirt is an option on their page. I don't believe it is.
No free. Nothing's free.
No, sorry.
We have a phone case. Does it say what kind of phone you can?
Surely they would have it available.
This is what happens when you don't actually pay attention to your merch store. So there's a whole crap load of iPhone cases, and then there are 3 Galaxy cases. You can get an S7, S8, or S9. So I guess if you have a phone other than those, you're out of luck. We have totes, like tote bags.
That way you can carry us with us, or you can carry us with you wherever you go.
You can carry your
and when people ask you about your Rebel Rock Radio bag, you can tell them about us.
That's right.
Because you want to.
Oh, and there's the hats. Okay, so there's the hats. We do have hats.
I told you there was hats.
Yep. So we have 2 styles of hats, actually. We have what is called a dad hat, which I don't know why it's called a dad hat.
Dad hat.
And we have trucker hats.
What exactly is the difference between a dad hat and a trucker hat?
Well, the trucker hat is the one that has the mesh back.
Right.
And the dad hat does not have mesh, and it's got a Well, they both have adjustable straps, but the strap on the dad hat is I don't know how to explain this.
Hey, Pete's in the chat. Hey, Pete.
It's kind of weird. I don't know how to explain what this looks like. Anyway, there's several different colors. How's it going, Pete? Smirking Bear, no, they are not sexy pillows, unless you consider the fact that it is a Rebel Rock Radio throw pillow. And unless you are saying that is sexy, in which case I would have still say no. But anyway, yeah, this is one of the shirts that you can get on the merch site. This little, they call them baseball shirts, and they're comfy. I like them. You have a shirt too, don't you? You've got a.
I have just a regular one of the. I have one of the white regular premium shirts. I have one of those. It's very comfortable, very nice. They are really nice. And I have actually had people ask me what Rebel Rock Radio is, and I tell them that's us. That's me.
Very
and
cool.
That's us.
Yes.
That's us. So yeah.
Walk around with that thing. So if you don't have your Rebel Rock Radio T-shirt yet, be sure to
pick yours up today.
Full disclosure, we really don't make a whole lot of money off of those.
Basically,
we do it through a third-party vendor, and they take most of that money. I mean, most. And like when I say most, we get like pennies on the dollar. Anyway, what's your show and tell today?
So, mine's not going to be as well. I mean, my will and will not be as glorious. But so because we're starting our little Sith part of our essence of our spirit of Star Wars thing, I wanted to bring this out today. And unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to charge part of it. Otherwise, I would show you both pieces of it. Aww. Because it does split in two. And I can show that, and I can show part of the effect of it.
Very cool. But
I received in the mail this week my wonderful Khmer lightsaber.
Ooh, that looks really
cool. My Khmer lightsaber, custom lightsaber. Pretty neat. And, yes, it does split into two pieces. So you can put the lightsaber in both of them. You can put a lightsaber in both of them. And I do have blades. I do have, it just came on.
Nope. Must have charged.
I do. Well, one side is charged. If I can get it to work. Come on. One side is barely charged and the bottom one is not. So I can plug in the top one and I can show everybody what the top one looks like. But the bottom one, unfortunately, does not have enough charge and it will not stay. It will not remain lit. So you're going to have to settle with the bottom one for now. Or the top one for now. But they both split open. And I can put a blade in each one. I have a custom blade for each one. And once you split them apart, of course, like with these custom blades, you got to screw it in. So, I mean, that's just the way it works. But... oh, there you are, people. And you don't have to have, you do not have to have the bottom. I hit it. You do not have to have the bottom connected in order for both of them to work. Both of them will work independently of one another, and you can use them just as Khmer did in the Acolyte. But you can use them in tandem with one another, and then all you have to do is lock it back together, and you have one complete lightsaber. Just like that. So, yeah, pretty cool. Oh, I did it again. But yep, one of 3 things that I really, really wanted from the Acolyte. So besides the Master Soul lightsaber, I now have Khmer's lightsaber, and hopefully here before long, I will have the helmet as well from the or I hate calling him the Stranger, but Khmer's helmet from the show as well.
And a life-size Carrie-Ann Moss poster.
I can't promise everything, man.
Okay.
So yeah,
I was actually at where was I at? I was at Walmart, and I went over to look at their Star Wars toys, and they have 1, 2, 3. They have 4 Black Series Acolyte figures.
mm-hmm.
They had man, I keep forgetting her name. Carrie-Ann Moss.
Uh-huh. Master Endara. Master Endara.
The they did not have Khmer.
Nope.
They had Soul.
Mm-hmm.
And they had oh man, I'm brain farting tonight. Dude got his head
Yorg.
Yeah.
Yorg.
And then they had
Yorg.
Yeah. Dude got his neck broken. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had OSHA.
Uh-huh. They should have, I think there's 6 or 8. I can't remember. There should be OSHA, May, Yorg, Jackie, Master Soul, and Master Endara. I think are the 6.
Yeah. Well, at the Walmart,
sure
that was the only ones they had.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I thought about picking those up because my local Walmart has them as well, but I have not decided to yet. I don't know. Maybe I should.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm sticking to like bigger, like life-size stuff, like the lightsabers and the helmets and things like that. Because, like I said, with the limited amount of room that I have, it really is kind of I have to be selective.
Yeah, it's just you bring that up because I've been thinking lately over the last like week or so, rethinking the whole collector thing.
It is a rabbit hole.
It is a rabbit hole, and
It is a rabbit hole.
And eventually, we are leaving this house, and I want less. I'm trying to get it to where we have less to pack instead of more to pack.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just trying to figure out ways to conserve space. And buying a bunch of toys is not a way to do it.
You might. Okay, so then you can just wait until after you move.
Yeah, that's going to be at least a year, maybe another year after that.
Yeah. So just wait until after you move, and then once you move, then you can start picking up more collectibles.
At this point, I'm just not buying everything that I see that looks cool and going, oh, I need that. If something really,
I did that, and that is why I have this going on. And for those of you who can't,
something that's really cool, then that I just can't do without, then I might. But I'm not going to just. I don't think I'm going to just buy stuff just to be buying it and say I have it.
I did that for a while. I was a Black Series completionist.
Yeah.
I bought stuff that was obscure and cool, and like now I have a bunch of collections of stuff that I could probably ditch.
Got that right there.
What's that? Oh yeah, 100%. No, that's what I was going to say earlier. You people think this is a lot. You think this is a lot. It goes in front, behind the camera too. It's full shelves, and then now in my living room,
take a video of your room one of these days.
Yeah. I'll have to do a full tour or something like that. I'll have to have the girlfriend do a video tour, and I'll have to show people some of the stuff that I got, including what's in the living room. I have stuff in the living room as well. It is all bled over into there.
Yeah.
And I also
I
have
don't
like
have anything in the living room. That's all. Yeah.
I'm telling you, I ran out of room in here, and everything started migrating that way. So like the really cool stuff, like the lightsabers and the helmets and stuff like that, and like The HasLab stuff, that's all in there, and there's a spot in there for the Ghost when it gets here.
And there's the thing. There's where it gets into, like you mentioned, lightsaber. I still don't have a lightsaber. I still don't have a Boba Fett helmet.
Mm-hmm. And see, I have lightsabers from like behind here, right over here. I have lightsabers from like the 2005, 2000 or 2004, 2005, 2006 signature collection that are sitting up there, and some of them are extremely rare, and they're awesome. But the problem with them is that like the newer ones, like the one that I just showed you, it's a little set screw. I can pull the set screw out, and the next thing you know, I can pull the blade out, and all I have is the lightsaber. That's it.
Yeah.
Now these things, the blades don't come out.
Oh yeah.
And so I have to display them blade and all. And it's hard to do because they take up so much space. And it wouldn't have been so bad if my mom about little over a year ago, my mom's
Aldo.
Yeah.
That's a bigger place so that we can buy more stuff.
Yeah, that's usually what happens. When you get a bigger place, you end up buying more stuff. And that's kind of where I'm at, is I bought a bigger place and then I buy more stuff. Hi, Katie. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's unfortunately with basements like that, I'm worried about it flooding and then losing my entire collection. That would be heartbreaking.
It is. It's actually really hard to find a place with a basement here in Oklahoma.
Yeah. I mean, Kansas isn't too bad, but like I said, you really got to pay attention, because I almost bought a house, and then they told me that it had 4 sump pumps in the basement, and I went, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I have the HasLab Razor Crest. I missed out on the sail barge, which I still pains me to this day that I did not fund that. I didn't do it because I didn't think it would fund, and it ended up funding, and I forgot about it. But I backed the HasLab Razor Crest. I actually backed the Rancor, which didn't fund. I did back the Reva's lightsaber, which didn't fund. And then I backed the Ghost, which it funded for the most part. I think three-quarters of it funded. They only missed like one character. They only missed it by one character. Oh, and then I also backed the Tatooine Cantina playset as well. And I didn't back the bottom one. I backed the top one, which is the more expensive one that had more pieces to it. Okay. So as soon as the Ghost gets here, I have to find a place to display it. And then when the Cantina set gets here, I got to find a place for it too. So, and actually, you're
just going to have to buy a bigger house.
Yeah, either that or I'm going to have to do that S word that I really don't want to do.
Or you said that, how many acres are you living on right now?
5.5.
Okay. So here's what you do.
Oh, God.
Buy a shed.
Buy a shed.
and put up shelves in the shed.
Make a whole separate area for just my Star Wars stuff.
Exactly.
Or I could buy a shed and move out stuff out of my house and put it in there, and then put up the Star Wars collection everywhere else.
Yeah,
and drive my girlfriend completely insane.
You could do that.
But I did tell her at one point. I said, "Honey, you're dating me. We're going to be together. The thing you have to understand is this is me here, and it's either this or cocaine. Make a choice."
Yeah, I think Star Wars is more fun.
I think Star Wars might be more fun.
Yeah, completely random. So everybody gets ready to drink. When are we going to do our pork roast?
The pork cookout. Yes, the pork cookout is at the end of the month in September, or this month. Yeah, end of this month. We're doing the pork. We're doing the cookout at my place.
You need to let me know ahead of time, so because we're not nearly as spontaneous as you may think. Especially not with a drive to Kansas.
Right on. I will give you the details once the show is over. No problem.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was show and tell time today. Next week we'll have another one. Hopefully I'll actually have something to show other than a shirt. But I don't know. I don't know. With me buying less stuff, I may just have to show off crap I've already got.
Yeah, Ubaldo, same thing. Sideshow collection. That's the other thing too. Is I've moved part of that into the other room too. But those are also expensive items that go like on top shelf places. So yeah, same. Yeah, the Sideshow. I'm really trying not to get too much into Sideshow because there's some really awesome pieces that I really, really want. But I'm really trying to be good and not go straight up Sideshow because, oh my God. Like I said, I'll have to do. I may end up before too long. I may have to. Hey, Matthew. I may have to do that S word that all collectors don't want to do. I may have to sell things.
You said the word.
I said the word. I may have to commit the S word that I don't want to do.
Then? Alrighty, so that was show and tell time, and we are coming up on time to talk about the history of the Sith. And before we do that, we're going to play our last tune of the evening.
Mm-hmm.
This one comes to us from London, United Kingdom, from the band Fightmilk. Fightmilk, all one word. They have an album coming out on November 15th called No Souvenirs. Well, that's, no souvenirs. No toys, no souvenirs. So that's coming out on November 15th via INH Records. And we are playing the title track from that album. So here is Fightmilk with No Souvenirs.
I've been thinking about just what to say. There's something to remind me every day. Autumn gets me so stuck in my way. Like your haunted house with its broken door, but you don't even live here anymore. And there's no souvenirs when you go. We're ruining the ending for ourselves.
right. So that was Fightmilk with no souvenirs. And Matthew had some burgers and bingo. Burgers and bingo.
Yeah, very good. Very cool. Yeah. Father-son night. Very nice. That's awesome.
All right. So we are going to be talking about the history of the Sith. Fun stuff.
You ever hear the tragedy of Darth Vader's delights? No, I thought not. It's not a story the Jedi would tell you. It's a Sith legend.
It's not a story the Sith would tell you.
Or the Jedi would tell you.
Or the Jedi would tell you.
Not a story
These stories that we're going to tell tonight are not stories that the Jedi would tell you. So
Steve made me do this one too, just so you know, because I don't do.
He forced this one on me. I'm telling you.
Whatever.
Yeah. So where to begin?
Holy crap.
There is so let me tell you our resources for this first. My notes that I was writing down for all of this, this is going to scare you. But most of this that I'm going to tell you came from memory. Stuff that I have read various places and just remember it and wrote it down. But I did actually use some information that I found in this one. Good information. Now, I did look at this book and kind of flip through it, but I had so many notes already. I was like, okay, I'm not going to dig into that book right now.
Because that has a lot more.
It does have a lot more. There's a lot of stuff.
It does have a lot more. And something we keep reiterating, and we're going to do it, and I'll do it again for both of us. Is it something you folks have to remember? Is that on this show, we do conversate about legends. We do conversate about current canon. We include legends. We include the legends timeline as well as the current canon, because like the Jedi, the Sith, as far as the current canon is concerned, there's not a lot of information because they haven't written those.
Yeah, and more so with the Sith than it is with the Jedi, because
there's mountains of information when it comes to legends, but when it comes to current canon, Disney canon, the current canon of Star Wars, there is hardly anything.
It's virtually non-existent. So
a
lot of what we're going to share tonight is most of it is legends. So with that being said, I do want to mention a lot. I mean, a lot of this you may know, but the Sith. So the Sith originally was actually a species. The original Sith were a humanoid species, more often than not, red-skinned, had fangs hanging from their face. They were.
Did you ever see the which I didn't realize this until I read up a little bit more about it, but did you ever see the CGI created animated trailer for the Old Republic video game?
Oh yeah.
The one where they show up and they first show up, and then the Zabrak Jedi and I think it's Bastilla is fighting the two of them, and one gets his helmet tore off, and he's a red guy with the little tendrils coming down.
Yeah.
And then Malgus kills him in the end. Okay, he's one of the guy the guy that was knelt down with the tendrils. He is actually one of the Sith species.
Right.
Yeah.
So the Sith species, they originated on a planet called Korriban, and we'll get to that again here in a few moments. The species was not only a warrior race or a warrior species, but they were also very interested in alchemy. So that is who the original Sith were. Stop. Now we're going on to the Dark Jedi. Okay, so there were a sect. You want to call them a sect? There were a bunch of Jedi that were looking into.
There was a name for him. What did they call it? They called him something Jedi, but I can't remember. It wasn't Dark Jedi. They actually had a name for him, and I can't remember. I can't remember the full name of them, but they were Dark Jedi. They were exiled. They were exiled Dark Jedi, Rogue Jedi, but there was a name for them.
They were looking into abilities and information, knowledge that was essentially forbidden. They were actually looking into this alchemy thing and as well as unnatural abilities. And they were, they started a war with the Jedi, and this war lasted 100 years. So this was called the 100-Year Darkness. And so this group of Dark Jedi were defeated by the Jedi during this 100-Year Darkness and exiled from the Republic. And they were led by an individual by the name of Ajunta Pall. Very important name in Sith history. And so this was around 7,000 BC. 7,000 BBY. Hey, Brian, how's it going, man? So yeah, about 7,000 BBY is when all of that happened. So they were exiled, and at that point they traveled around and they found Korriban. And so they met up with the native Sith, who were warlike and alchemists and whatnot. And the Dark Jedi presented themselves and eventually became like gods because of the powers that they had. So the Sith were treating them like gods. And it was around this time that Ajunta Pall formed the first, more or less, Sith Empire. And along the lines, further down, they started crossbreeding with these Sith, and some of the Sith were purebred, so to speak, and then others were crossbred with these Dark Jedi, who most of which were human. I'm sure there were other species as well. But so that is when we get the first Sith Empire. And then we get further down the road, and we start what was referred to as the golden age of the Sith, with the reign, whatever you want to call it, with a guy by the name of Marka Ragnos. Another important name in Sith history.
Something I didn't know.
Say that again.
Something I didn't know about him, and I think this is the guy I'm thinking of. Yes, I believe it's the guy I'm thinking of. He is. It's a funny little fact. Funny little fact about him is that he was one of the only Sith to actually die of old age and not be killed by an apprentice.
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah, and at this time there was not just one apprentice. There were several Sith lords. Mark Aragnos was the Dark Lord of the Sith, meaning he was basically the king or emperor, however you want to look at that. And then there were other Sith lords under him. So his death created a schism in the Sith Order. And the two sides of that schism were Naga Sadow, who was an alchemist. He was very, very into the whole science and intermingling the Force with crazy chemical shit. And so there was him on that side, and then the other side was Ludo Kresh. So these two guys were fighting for the title of Dark Lord of the Sith. And whereas Ludo Kresh, one of the big things they had a problem with each other is Naga Sadow wanted to increase, what's the word I'm looking for? Expand. He wanted to expand the Sith Empire, and Ludo Kresh was like, no, we need to just keep the power that we have now and don't mess with all that. And so they fought over that. And then these two, I think they were teenagers, showed up in this ship because they accidentally came to Korriban by just randomly hitting hyperspace.
They were looking for artifacts.
Right. Well, they were looking for new hyperspace lanes.
Right, but I also heard they went down to the planet because they were looking for. They thought that. Okay, so at that time, I think they thought the Sith had abandoned Korriban, and then they were looking for artifacts that might have been left behind, or.
I'll have to read that book again, but I don't remember them even knowing what the Sith were. Because at this point, the Sith were completely unknown.
Yeah.
To the public.
Well, yeah. No,
so they show up, and everybody's freaking out. You know, we got one side of the people that just want to kill them, and other ones are like, no. We need to use them to get us to the Republic and find new worlds to conquer. And ultimately, Naga Sadow wins the title of Dark Lord of the Sith, and he starts the Great Hyperspace War with the Republic. And that was around 5,000 BBY. And then, just like the previous war, the Sith were defeated, and most of them died. There weren't many that survived. Now, Naga Sadow did survive, and he escaped to Yavin.
Yavin 4. For those of you who know what Yavin 4 is.
What's that?
Yavin 4, as a matter of fact.
Yavin 4. And then the rest of the Sith that hey Tina.
Hi Tina.
The rest of the Sith that actually stayed on Korriban, because there were a bunch of Sith that didn't want anything to do with this war. They were just like, they didn't take either side in the Naga Sadow Ludo Kresh thing. They were just like, just whatever, you know. And so these folks actually, because of the defeat of the Sith in the Great Hyperspace War, they fled to the unknown regions and started a new Sith empire. And their leader was a guy named Tenebrae, who is also known as Darth Vitiate. And they, like I said, they went to the unknown regions and they found a planet called Drummond Cass, or Drummond Cass. Anyway, and established a new Sith empire there.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, the Republic and the Jedi thinking the Sith were gone for the most part. They're just, Now, almost 2,000 years later, there was a Jedi who was looking into Sith knowledge, and his master was not pleased, to say the least. He was looking into information about a former Jedi by the name of Freedon Nad, who was a Jedi who killed his master and then apprenticed himself to Naga Sadow, who at the time was still alive. But this Jedi was searching for information about Freedon Nad, but he was also looking for more information about the Sith because he found it interesting. Mm-hmm. And like I said, his master was not happy with him, and this Jedi left his master, didn't kill him at first, and then went off on his own, looking to do his own thing. His name was Exar Kun, and he did some traveling. He went to a lot of different planets. He did go to Yavin 4. He did go to Korriban. He went to other historical Sith places. And then he starts recruiting other former Jedi to join him because he wants to start another war against the Republic. They just never learn, and he winds up meeting with another former Jedi who his name was Ulic Quildrama. And so this was a Jedi that went to learn the secrets of a society called the Krath, who were they weren't Sith, but they were dark arts, dark side of the Force, dark side users that were more intrigued with the alchemy part of things, like in combining alchemy with the dark side of the Force. So he was going to learn their secrets to try to defeat them, and he winds up turning. He was not powerful enough to not turn, and so anyway, Exar Kun meets up with this guy, recruits him, and they actually start off fighting because they're both dark side users, and they're fighting because they're they don't they want the power for themselves, and so the ghost of Marka Ragnos shows up, and this is one of the first times I think we see a Force ghost.
Now was he let's see. Now was he a Force ghost because he was actually a Force ghost, or did he actually embody himself in something? Because I thought the only way the Sith could do it. Yeah, but he was trapped within his tomb or something like that too, wasn't he? There was something about it, because the Jedi's Force ghost difference was that they could actually they could go anywhere and they could communicate any way they wanted. But with the Sith, it was either, because with the Sith first started out, it was embodying their spirits into like talismans, it was into like masks, it was into like jewelry that they wore. It was
they were on Korriban though. They were, let's see.
Well, they were on Yavin 4, I think, if I remember correctly. I believe they were on Yavin 4.
Yeah, but Marka Ragnos was entombed on Korriban. But you're right. He's definitely a Force ghost.
Oh, okay.
So he shows up and he's like, knock that shit off. Quit fighting. You are, Exar Kun, you are so powerful that you are now the Dark Lord of the Sith. So he basically gives them the title of Dark Lord of the Sith. And Ulic Qel-Drama, you will be his apprentice. So we had Exar Kun and we have Ulic Qel-Drama, who is master and apprentice. But there were other Sith because, as I mentioned, Exar Kun had recruited other fallen Jedi to join him.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't the Rule of Two had not happened yet. This was not a thing. Anyway, so they start another war. This one was called the Great Sith War against the Republic. Again, they lose. They lose.
You would think they would notice after. You would think it would notice after several thousand years of this that there's a pattern.
Get the message.
There's a pattern here.
So Exar Kun kind of dies. He's dead, but he's still a spirit. Because his spirit winds up on Yavin 4. And if you know your Legends novels of post Return of the Jedi, you might remember that Exar Kun did show up many thousands of years later and tried to fight Luke Skywalker, and that did not go well for him. Anyway, I digress. So we've got these. So Exar Kun more or less dies, but Ulic Qel-Drama actually has his power taken away from him, like he is cut off from the Force, and that is something that is done to him by Nomi Sunrider. She basically cuts him off from the Force. Now. So all this time, remember, there is still this Sith Empire that nobody knows anything about. Out on Dromund Kaas. They have no desire to get involved with the Republic at this time, and they just want to do their Sith thing in their Sith Empire. And at this point,
in the Outer Rim, just leave us alone. We'll be here, just chilling. Don't mess with us. We're good. Yes. We don't need your help. We're fine.
Right. So another war happens much later, like 3970-ish, somewhere around there. And it's not the Sith that are fighting the Republic. It is the Mandalorians that are fighting the Republic. And there are these, there's a couple of Jedi that go against the wishes of the Jedi Council, because the Jedi Council, Night Sister. No, Nomi Sunrider was not a Night Sister. She was. Where was she from? She's human. She was originally from the planet. Oh, damn it! Why can I not remember this? Fuck. No, I know this. Where the hell is she from? All right, let me look it up. Dorada.
Sure we
She's on a planet. She's from a planet called Dorada. I kept wanting to say Onderon, but that's not right. Anyway, yeah, no, Nomi Sunrider was not a. No, she is not from. She is not from Dathomir. Introducing Courtship of Princess Leia. No. We're talking like,
this was like 3,000 years
almost 4,000 years before the Battle of Yavin.
Yeah, this is like
You might be thinking of somebody else.
Yeah, it was like 3250 BBY or something like that. Like in that,
like 3996.
Oh, okay.
Almost 4,000 years. Yeah. Anyway,
just so you know, people, there is like massive amounts of information that we've skipped over to get to this part, and there is in Legends canon, there is so much.
I'm about halfway through my notes, so I still have a lot of stuff going on here. Halfway ish, and I didn't even use this because this would get. Yeah, it would get crazy. Anyway, so we have this Mandalorian war, and the Jedi Council doesn't want to get involved with this war. But these two Jedi are like, "No, we want to go to war. We're gonna help the Republic by fighting these Mandalorians." And they go off and fight these Mandalorians. Their names are Revan and Malik. And so they go fight in this war, and they defeat the Mandalorians. And then after they defeat the Mandalorians, they begin to travel and they discover the unknown regions, and they wind up, let's see, but what if we live and thrive for the crazy Steve? I don't know what to tell you.
It is crazy. There's a lot of history.
There's a lot of history. And mind you, most of this is from memory. I only use this book. I only use this book to find out dates. And a couple of things are like, oh, yeah, that too. Okay. Anyway.
This is the thing. This is the thing. Digress for a minute, but this is the thing. The history of the Sith and their background and where they came from and their origins and all that kind of stuff is much more interesting than the Jedi, because the Jedi basically, they became who they became by dictating that they were there to be keepers of the peace, where the Sith were battling over literally before the Battle of Yavin, like 30,000 years before the Battle of constant battling warfare between factions of the fucking Sith and the people that interacted with them for literally 30,000 years before the Battle of Yavin.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So Revan and Malik find German Cass, and they wind up meeting the Emperor, Darth Vitiate. And, they meet with this guy, and he turns them to the dark side. No shit. And that is where we get Darth Revan and Darth Malik. So I'm going to pause there for a second with our history. Well, it's still kind of history. And I'm going to talk about the title Darth. Because up to this point, nobody had used the title Darth that we know of. As far as Legends history goes, Revan was the first person to use the title Darth. And Darth was shit. I'm trying to remember my freaking junior high, middle school English. We call that word contraction. It was a contraction.
It wasn't shit, Steve. It was something else.
Yeah. It was a contraction of the Sith words for Dark Lord of the Sith. So it was some foreign language. It wasn't basic. And it was a combination of, you are very right, Bear. I could do an entire episode just about him because it is messed up. Dude, this dude killed his parents when he was like 9 years old. Freaking nuts. Vitiate is crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
he was the leader. Yeah, go ahead. Anyway,
no. Go ahead.
He was the leader of the. I was say, wasn't he he was the leader of a different faction? It says, wasn't he?
He was the emperor of the Sith Empire.
Yeah, but he was the one that was kind of out there that just
relocated to Drummond Castle.
Yeah, relocated to a different spot. Yeah. They're the ones that just wanted to be left alone.
Yeah. So Revan, well, for the time being, he was making plans. He was a schemer. So he had eventually planned to start a war against the Republic, which he eventually did. He did, but right now he was like, I want to get all my ducks in a row first. But anyway, so Revan and Malak fight him, or not fight him. They meet him. They fall to the dark side. They become Darth. And like I said, that's Dark Lord of the Sith. So we have Darth Revan, and so the Vitiate sends him out on this mission, and they are looking for this old artifact from the Rakatan Empire, and this is even predating. That's even predating like the Jedi and the Sith. It's old history. So he wants them to go find this thing. But they leave. They're like, yeah, fuck him. And they go to start basically their own Sith empire. So this is like a separate Sith empire away from the actual Sith Empire. So they start the Sith Empire, and they start a civil war against the Republic again. And they actually come very close to winning that war. They are so close. But guess what happens?
They get beat.
Well, they lose, but why is the interesting thing. They are very, very close to beating the Republic. Like the Republic is like ready to surrender. But then Revan is turned back to the light side.
Oh, he gets amnesia and is turned back to the light side.
Yes, and his memories are wiped. And then he goes on the side of the Republic to fight against Malak and defeats him. So again, the Sith are defeated. But it is not too many years, a couple hundred years after this. Vitiate is still alive. As would I, Tina. I definitely would like to see comic book.
I want to see a movie, and the people that are like, I want to see a movie, and people that say Keanu Reeves ought to play Revan. I'm here for it. I am here for it.
I can see it even more after having listened to the audiobook Revan. Yeah. So about 3,600-ish BBY. The actual Sith Empire, the one that's led by Vitiate, goes to war against the Republic. And if you folks welcome to Sith history class. I am your teacher, Professor Steve. Yes, you will only get 3 credits for various intergalactic university studies. Anyway, yeah, so shit, where was I at? Take a drink. I forgot. Squirrel.
Where's my beer?
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, so he goes to war. So Vitiate and the actual Sith Empire goes to war against the Republic. And what I was about to say is, any of you folks out there that have ever played the game Star Wars: The Old Republic, not Knights of the Old Republic, because that's Revan when he's a good guy. But the MMORPG, Knights of the Star Wars, the Old Republic, this is the time period that we're looking at right now. That is what you are playing in. You are in the war with the Sith Empire versus the Republic. So, and specifically, what I'm about to get to, they're going to war, and the Republic is damn near drained. They come closer to surrender than they ever have, and they end up signing a treaty with the Sith Empire where they cede a lot of territory, give away, if you don't know what the word cede means. They give away a lot of territory to the Sith Empire in exchange for peace. So essentially, they are more or less defeated without being defeated. So they sign the Treaty of Coruscant, and they are at a very uneasy peace. And it is during that time period that the game, the main storylines of the game take place. Like basically when you're playing the main storylines of each of the different characters, you are playing during that time period. But of course, this peace doesn't last, and the war continues, and eventually, and we're talking like way down the line, and shit, I don't have the year. God damn it. I thought I had it in my notes. Okay, so they're fighting the Sith Empire for a really long time. Okay, so let me tell you how long this war went. So the Sith Empire, the Vitiate Empire, we'll call it, went to war with the Republic in 3681 BBY. In 1002 BBY was the Battle of Rusan, which was, as far as the Jedi and the Republic understood, was the ultimate, like, at that point, the Sith were wiped out completely, or so they thought. So it was
obviously so they thought.
Obviously so they thought. So
yeah.
So what happened was, they were at the Battle of Rusan, and this Sith Lord, by the name of Bane, convinces the higher ups in the Sith Empire, which at this time they were calling themselves the, oh god damn it, what were they called? Brotherhood of Darkness. That's right. Thank you, Bear. I knew it was Brotherhood, and I'm like, Brotherhood what? Yes. So I mean, at this point, Vitiate wasn't really around. So somewhere along the lines between the 3600s and 1000, he kind of disappears. Does he die? No.
Nobody really knows.
But at this point, the Sith is essentially this Brotherhood of Darkness. And so Bane convinces the leader of the Brotherhood of Darkness was named Khan. And on Rusan, they were fighting a battle against the Jedi who were led by Lord Hoth. Hoth. You know that name. And so they're fighting this war, and it's basically like what what's the stalemate? That's the word I'm looking for. Is basically at this point it's a stalemate, and they're like, we don't know what to do. Bane convinces Khan and the Brotherhood of Darkness to try out this thing that he learned how to do called a thought bomb. And essentially it annihilates all of your enemies within a certain radius, whatever. What he doesn't tell them is that, oh, by the way, it's going to kill you too. He doesn't tell them.
Yeah, basically it's going to kill everybody.
So Lord Khan and the Sith Lords get together and they're doing this thing because it takes a shitload of people to do this thought bomb. And they think they're going to destroy all the Jedi. Right. Army of Light. That's what they were. The Jedi were called the Army of Light. Anyway, so they think they're gonna destroy all these Jedi, and they do, but they destroy themselves as well. And so at this point, the Republic and the Jedi Order think, okay, Sith we've wiped them out completely. There are no more Sith, none. Well, there was one. There was one Sith left.
But you can't guess who it is.
Darth Bane was the guy that convinced them to do the thought bomb, and he is the one that established the rule of two. His mindset, his thought process was he didn't like the Brotherhood of Darkness because he thought the dark side was too spread out. It was too, is the word dissipated? That's not the word I'm looking for. Dissolved. Shit. What's the word I'm looking for? There were too many people using it, so it was kind of diluted. The dark side was too diluted. Mm-hmm. And so he came up with this idea that there should only be... Go ahead.
He refined the way the Sith would rule themselves going forward.
Right.
Basically being the rule of two. Now, the rule of two, the way I understand it, the rule of the two in the Legends was that you would have the master and you would have an apprentice, or you would have the Dark Lord of the Sith and you would have his apprentice. Now, that didn't necessarily mean that there weren't other practitioners or that there weren't other followers.
Right.
Which is what you see in Rise of Skywalker and you've seen in other literature, that there were practitioners. There were still other Sith people around, but the evident leaders of the Sith was the Dark Lord of the Sith and his apprentice.
Right. So his idea is that the dark side should be confined to essentially two people, a master and an apprentice. So that the dark side power is not diluted. It is so, and it was also in this manner, since there were so few of them, they could hide. Oh, they think we're all dead. Okay, just let them keep thinking that. Let them keep thinking that. And this is the way things worked up until, I mean, really, even when we get to the when we get to the movies. So in Phantom Menace, there's actually three. So they you had Darth Plagueis, who we don't see in the Phantom Menace, but we know he's around. We've got Darth Plagueis, we've got Darth Sidious, and Darth Sidious has taken an apprentice because he knows he's going to destroy Darth Plagueis. Mm-hmm. So he's getting an apprentice for himself, Darth Maul. After Plagueis kills, wipe that around. After Sidious kills Darth Plagueis, then it's back to there's only two of them. And then Darth Maul dies and
dies,
yeah.
Or is defeated and then cast aside by Sidious.
Right. And then he takes on Count Dooku, So again, there's only 2 until Dooku takes on an apprentice. And
Ventress.
What's that?
Ventress.
Yeah, Asajj Ventress.
Which. So a lot of people, I've heard people ask, because a lot of people who don't understand, like, so we get to the part where you're like, you have the Inquisitors, and you have the. So, as I said, that's where the whole the Dark Lord of the Sith was the leader. Was essentially he was the master. You know, the master, the Dark Lord of the Sith. He was the master, and then he took on an apprentice, which was also called. You know, they were the dark. They were also called a Darth. They were given that title, and they were also apprenticed to the master. But that didn't necessarily mean there weren't other agents. There weren't other things going on behind the scenes for the Sith. Right. That there weren't other things. There were other things. It just meant that they were the only ones who carried on the legacy of the Sith. Right. But obviously, I mean, Dooku trained Ventress. She was one of his disciples, so she was listed as more of a disciple rather than a apprentice. Well,
he found out about her, and he didn't like that.
Yeah, well, he didn't like the fact, because he thought, it was going against his plans. It was going against the rule of 2.
Yeah,
and also he didn't like it when he found out that Darth Maul had survived, and Savage was actually being trained as a Sith, and right. Darth Maul was actually training himself and his brother to what do I want to say? To basically replace Sidious. Yeah. They were trying to work together. They were trying to sum out. They were trying to make it so they could take over what Sidious was doing, and it was Maul and his brother. And so, there was that too. And then you have the Inquisitors, who were trained in the arts, but they were not actually considered lords. They were not considered even disciples. They were just considered Inquisitors. They were
tools.
Yeah, basically they were tools.
And they didn't show up until after Order 66, because those were all Inquisitors were essentially former
Jedi. Former Jedi, yeah.
Darth Sidious was on a roll since they overthrew the Republic and defeated the Jedi, essentially into the Clone Wars. Yeah. But until Order 66, he was more or less trying to keep in line with the rule of 2.
Mm-hmm. And if even in Return of the Jedi, I think that from the way I saw it, from my point of view, it was that Sidious found a better apprentice in Luke Skywalker than he did his father, Anakin, or Darth Vader. And he was actually trying to get Luke to take his father's place.
Yeah.
Which if he'd have said, if they'd abandoned the rule of 2, he could have just said, no, we'll take you both as my apprentice. I will teach you both the ways. But Sidious was actually trying to get Luke to kill Vader to take his place as a more powerful Sith Lord.
Yeah. That is, Brian, that's an interesting way to look at it. And it's very true in a way.
Yeah. Force-sensitive bounty hunters,
really.
Yeah. Their whole job was to scout out and locate Jedi.
They weren't around to learn the ways of the Sith. They were there to do what Sidious wanted them to do, or what Vader wanted them to do.
Yeah. Oh, they were never, if any one of them ever tried to take over, they were instantaneously going to be killed, which was obvious. If you watch Obi-Wan Kenobi, it was always a competition for not getting killed and not overstepping and not overreaching their position.
Yeah. And so Dooku gets killed by his next apprentice. And with Anakin, he really was playing the long game. And if it weren't for Anakin, really, Sidious would not have reached his goal. But as you can see from all of this, the history of the Sith is basically a history of a warfare, because they are always at war and they are always trying to conquer, and they
each other
always get conquered.
They were always trying to conquer each other. That was the problem.
Yeah.
They were always trying to kill.
Up until Darth Bane, though.
Up until Darth Bane, yeah, which he set the rules. But still, even when Darth Bane did the rule of two, they were still the apprentices were always killing the masters.
Yeah, eventually, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it went back to them killing each other because they were like, "Oh, I've outgrown you. I'm more powerful than you. Stab you. There, you're done." They were still doing it. Even after that, they were still warring with one another.
Yeah.
And really, honestly, the only reason why Vader, I think a lot of the books in canon, or in Legends and canon, a lot of the reasons why Vader even stuck around and stayed the way he was is because Sidious kept throwing him constant reminders about his pain and his torment and his torture. And that was the only way that he could keep him going.
Yeah.
The hatred.
We're going to get to that in a minute, Bear, actually. I do want to point something out here. If you have never read this book, which I'm trying to get uploaded, if you've never read this book, I highly suggest it. There's not a lot of Sith history in it, but if it is Darth Bane and the establishment of the Rule of Two that you are interested in, as well as some Sith history, this book, you cannot go wrong with this book. This book is amazing. It is great. Okay. So on to Smirky Bear's question. And this is for those of you in the chat as well, I'm assuming. Who would be your favorite Sith? Now, who's your favorite Sith, Jenny?
As weird and as twisted as it sounds, one of my favorite Sith was just because of his whole condition was Darth Sion.
Okay.
Yeah, Darth Sion, Lord of Pain. Okay. He literally was alive only because he fed off of the negative energy from the torture of his victims. He had to constantly torture and cause pain to people in order to draw the energy off that to keep himself alive.
Now, do you remember what time period he took place in?
He was part of so I'm going to go to the video game reference. He was part of Knights of the Old Republic 2. He was part of the triumvirate, or how do they say it? The triumvirate?
Triumvirate, yeah.
Yeah, triumvirate. He was part of it was Darth Sion, Darth Nihilus, and that's him. Yeah.
Treya? Was it Treya?
Darth Treya. Yeah, he was part of that. He was part of that group of the three of them. And really, each one of them is pretty cool, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Because
Darth Nihilus was just nasty. He was just crazy. I mean, his abilities and what he could do with the Force was crazy. But Darth Sion, I don't know why, but as far as like Sith Lords go, if I was going to see one brought into like a horror story for Star Wars, I would think the history of her and those two in a battle scenario would be interesting to see, because like I said, literally he lived off the pain. He lived off the pain of his victims. That was the only thing keeping him alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he was pretty nasty.
Smirking Bear says Count Dooku is your favorite.
I love his lightsaber.
Yeah.
His curved lightsaber was awesome. And like we talked about with the Jedi, he was an excellent duelist. He was a badass when it came to sword fighting. He was elegant, and he could duel with the best of them. I mean, he really, until he met Anakin, I mean, he was pretty good. He was pretty darn good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's hard to beat Anakin. I mean, can you really imagine how powerful Anakin would have been had he not got his ass whooped by Obi-Wan?
Yeah. Well,
he
yeah,
never reached his full potential.
Yeah. And what I thought, and I actually heard something today in my research that I did not know, and kind of really I'm still processing, but I'm kind of trying to change my whole perspective on the whole thing. And this is Legends information. This didn't have anything to do. This wasn't in the movies. This hasn't been in any literature that I've seen as far as current canon is concerned. As far as I know, this is Legends canon, I think. But apparently, the prophecy of the Chosen One was not only a Jedi prophecy, but it was a Sith prophecy as well. And they called him that. What did they call him? They called him the Sith Arai or something like that. I can't remember the name of it. I can't remember what it was called. But they had a prophecy of a perfect being that would arise and break down the Sith order and make it perfect again and bring it back into power.
Yeah.
But the Jedi also had their prophecy of a virgins that would come and would bring balance to the Force. So I mean, it's kind of interesting. It would be interesting to know or to hear how the two prophecies link to one another, and how they got mixed up, and how they got, how they became each other's prophecy. It was just a matter of trying to figure out whose was going to come true, because there was literally information that said Darth Sidious, when he met Anakin, he assumed that Anakin was that Sith prophet that they've been waiting on. Mm-hmm. Where when Qui-Gon Jinn met him, he assumed that he was the Virgins of the Force that they were waiting for to bring balance to the Force and defeat the darkness for good. So it was a contest. So, I mean, in a way, I guess my initial thought of it is it kind of changes the whole perspective on it in the sense that really the prophecy Sidious happened to have everything he needed to bring Anakin to his side instead of him going to the Jedi side. So it was like there was a being that was going to be created, and it was kind of prophesied, but they didn't know. It could have gone either way.
Yeah.
And instead of him going to the light, he went to the dark and went to the dark side for a while. They purged all the Jedi, and then the next thing you know, by the end of his lifespan, he ends up destroying the Sith and anything left of the Sith. Now, irregardless of how you feel about the sequels, this whole transfer of essence thing has been around since the Sith, before the Dark Jedi even met the Sith. Yeah. This has been things that have been going on in Legends because there was a Sith Lord that literally his whole thing was trying to figure out how to transfer his essence from his body into another, because he knew he was getting old. Yeah. So he was trying to figure that out. And this is Legends material. This is pre-Disney. So that existed beforehand. And then there were stories within Disney that happened after Return of the Jedi where Darth Sidious had transferred himself into clones. So this whole idea that this was a bad thing from Disney is not necessarily a thing. This has been around for a long time. They just incorporated it into the story. Now, whether you agree that the way they did it was not necessarily great, that's fine. Maybe so. But it's not a concept. It's a concept that has been around for a long time. And that was part of the teachings, that was part of the research, that was part of what the Sith did before even the Dark Jedi showed up.
All right, so let me catch up with the chat here.
Okay.
Matthew says that Darth Maul is his favorite. Very good choice. Good choice.
Yep.
My favorite. I have a favorite and I have an honorable mention. My favorite is Darth Bane. Without Darth Bane, the Sith would not have become what it became when Sidious was around. We would not have a Darth Sidious without Darth Bane.
Mm-hmm.
And just the things that he did. The rule of two. That's like the essence of modern Sith. And I use the word modern, you know what I mean? So yeah, Darth Bane is my favorite Sith. My honorable mention, just because the dude was like genius and just played the long game out to the end, was Sidious.
Yeah.
Sidious had plans upon plans upon plans upon, like, everything was according to his plan. If something got fucked up, it was still according to his plan. He was a genius. Okay. So that's that question. Matthew, yes, that is a Phantom Menace poster with Anakin and then the shadow of Darth Vader. That was a question he had in there. Tina says, I like Maul. However, Nihilus is creepy and would be cool to see on screen. Agreed. Agreed. A lot of crazy Sith Lords out there. All right.
Well, and that's why I said earlier, you don't know how much history, like before the Dark Jedi showed up, before the Dark Jedi were exiled and sent and just happened to land on Korriban. There's so much history that happened before that, and so much stuff that they went into, and so many things that we didn't go into before that even happened. Like I said, before the Dark Jedi showed up, I think there was a little over 22,000 years of history that still we didn't even talk about. Yeah. So yeah.
All right. To answer your question, Matthew, what's the topic next week? Well, we still need to talk about the Sith Code. We still need to talk about Sith-specific abilities. And then we kind of touched on some, but I thought we would also, if we have time next week, talk about some other notable Sith Lords that we didn't quite dig into.
Yeah, because we didn't even get into information resulting from post Return of the Jedi from Legends.
Yeah, we got so much that we did not cover. Even with we just covered history today. I mean, it took an entire episode to cover the history.
And there's stuff from canon too. I mean, Darth Momin. There's stuff about what is it? Darth Vader's space and his home world. There's a whole history there where he had Mustafar. There's a whole, and I'm just sorry, it was brain fart. But Mustafar, there's whole things in there about the alchemy and about Sidious and Plagueis and stuff we can touch on from the Acolyte and things like that. So, I mean, there is stuff in canon. It's just that the amount of information that was in Legends is just crazy.
Oh yeah, there's so much to do about Sith. But so yeah. So to answer the question, we're going to talk about the Sith Code. We're going to talk about Sith-specific abilities, abilities that the Jedi would not use, and notable Sith Lords. So that wraps it up for us today. So thank you, those of you that are watching. Thanks for those of you that hung out with us in the chat room. We always appreciate that. And tell your friends to come out and subscribe to Isaac. You just show up at the last minute.
Holy crap.
Oh man, Isaac.
Don't go. We'll be back next week, man.
We are done. We are about to wrap things up. So thanks everybody for hanging out with us in the chat room. We love it. Tell your friends to do all that YouTube stuff. Subscribe, smash that like button, comment if you will. Join our Patreon, all that good stuff. And come back next week for more Sith fun. So, that is it. So may the Force be with you and have a great week.